But what message does it send? Does it send the message that the Secret Service is not up to the job, that the Capitol Police are not up to the job? What message does it send? That's a good question.
Well,
that should be asked as well today.
Let's take a look at some of those questions about securing Washington, D.C. for this historic day. All focus is now on the Capital One Arena in the area. Most of the activities are now inside, so the main viewing area will be there. Secret Service is trying to restrict access to the arena to try and eliminate threats. About 200,000 people bought tickets to attend, but is this enough security? For more, let's bring in former FBI special agent and retired Navy SEAL Jonathan Gilliam. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Great
on this,
to see you.
On this real New Year's Day. This is the real New Year's right here.
You got it. You got it. Is this security enough? How do you see today playing out?
Well, I think I don't trust the Secret Service, first of all, and I think that is something that the president and his new appointee to head the Secret Service is going to have to really figure some things out. And I don't trust them outside of a venue. I think a venue is a target, or is an area that he can harden, he can control, and because of that, I think now is the time to evolve past the open limo that Kennedy drove in, and then they evolved past that. And I think this is where we're at. I think we've evolved until they come up with new countermeasures. These types of events are going to be what you see more than not, are going to be large enclosed events or controlled areas. So I'm actually ecstatic when I heard this. I think the weather played a huge role in this, in convincing them that this needed to be this way. And I think it's the right thing to do. However, what everybody else needs to realize is that they are also a target. And when it's extremely cold, law enforcement has a bad habit of becoming complacent because they're in the cold as well. So people need to realize they are their own first responder. You have to keep your eyes about you, understand what's normal behavior, what's not, where an attack could come from, what kind it would be. And whenever you're around large crowds in D.C., today and all week, you should be aware of what's going on around you.
Great point there, Jonathan. I'd like to broaden the scope a bit, and I'd like you to put into perspective for us the importance of today, what's at stake, not just in terms of promises made, promises kept, but also President Trump standing on the world stage.
Well, I tell you something. It is, I think when I woke up this morning, and I know I'm not the only one that felt this way, I feel a spirit in this nation that is a culmination of a tremendous amount of prayers, an anointed leader that I do really believe is anointed by God. Otherwise he wouldn't be here, and a population that sees what the country needs, and in a world that understands big change is getting ready to come. And I think we see that from everything from Zuckerberg to Hamas to the way the leftists are now finding it harder to spin their nonsensical narratives that Trump is evil and that conservatives are all white supremacists. I think there is a huge change happening today, and this is the start of something great. But as the Bible says, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, and you'll find poverty. Well, we need to be very careful after the excitement is gone that the conservatives in this nation, the Christians in this nation, that wherever we are, we set the example of how we should be, how we should treat others, and how we should stand up against people who threaten us.
Jonathan, let me go back to something that you mentioned there. I want to go back to the security issue of this, because you say that you have no faith in the Secret Service, and how could we after what we saw in Butler, Pennsylvania, and then at the golf course not long after that? But here's the question. If the most highly defended city in the world, Washington, can't put on an event without the threats bringing it to a close and putting it inside, how is Donald Trump going to travel the world? If you don't trust the Secret Service here at home, how are you going to trust it if he goes overseas to the Middle East or to China or wherever he may travel? What faith do you have in the Secret Service to keep him safe in those arenas?
At this point, I don't have a lot of faith in them. I mean, I have faith that they can, move the convoy from one place to the next. I know that the Beast, that's the car that he rides in, is very secure. There are a lot of standard operating procedures that are in place, but the primary tactic of threat assessments, as we've seen by the Secret Service, has failed, and failed greatly. Failed to the point where they opened up an avenue of approach twice that attackers took advantage of, and who knows how many times that attackers didn't take advantage of it. So this is, I have to see and know that the Secret Service and the new headshed coming in, one, is going to get rid of all of these, I mean, just ridiculous characters that try to portray themselves as leaders of the Secret Service, including Roe. He needs to go away. All these people need to go away. The training needs to change. The emphasis on understanding how the attacker will attack and doing what they should have been doing and what they used to do. Putting people who are big enough to be around Trump so that they can be as tall as him and be an effective bullet sponge. That's what they are. That they can move him quickly when something occurs. So in case he's injured, they can save his life. These are basics that we've seen completely cut out. I think if I see that, if I hear from my sources that this is happening, I'll start to trust them more. But I'll tell you, Trump himself, I wish he was sitting right here next to me, because the one thing I would tell him is that, sir, you have to start thinking like that as well. How would the attacker attack you, when, where, how, and why? And then he himself needs to be aware and willing and ready to say, I'm not comfortable with that, and then tell his director and not do it.
Allison?
Well, I guess my question would be along the lines of, what does the White House security look like at this point? It's a place that we know people like to go for tours, walk around. Do you think that there's going to be a revamp of what we'll see at the White House or other areas like that?
Well, I hope so, because apparently it's also a place people like to take cocaine in and put it in a locker as they're hanging out, you know. So those things just shouldn't be happening. That is the most secured building in the world. It's not like the Congress. It's not like, Capitol Hill, where civilians can walk around. I know it's more tightened than it was, but you can go in there and meet with your congressman. You're not stopping by the White House and going to see the president, the CEO of the nation. So it is very secure. But as we saw when Clinton was in office, somebody flew a plane in and crashed it into the side, right by the West Wing. So these things occur. I think law enforcement in general needs to get past smoke and mirrors. They play a big part in security, projection of power, but we need real effective people that are there, that are willing to take a shot, that are willing to, if somebody comes in like during the Obama administration and scaled the fence and got into the front door of the White House, that person should have been killed before when they just first got over the fence. So that mentality needs to change.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you for your time. And we will see you. We have just a few minutes up next, but see you in the war room.
This is our last chance to help save thousands of Holocaust survivors who are suffering in the former Soviet Union today. The needs that these forgotten Jews have are something beyond anything you can imagine.
Have you eaten this morning?
I ate the carrot, so I ate half of it yesterday. And this is what she ate in 2 days, 1 carrot. Please pray for me.
The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews began this ministry to help elderly Jews living in horrible poverty around the world. We urgently need your gift of $25 now to help provide one survival food box with all of the foods they critically need for their diet for 1 month. When you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
I have a tremendous love for Israel and the Jewish people. This is why I'm partnering with the Fellowship. It gives me a way to authentically bless Jewish people in need around the world.
I believe in God, but I sometimes feel maybe He forgot me. Perhaps you could tell my story, and I would find a matching soul that would understand. I face hunger again.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now to help rush one survival food box to a Holocaust survivor. When you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
This is what God wants from us. Just feed the hungry.
If you hear God's voice, I'm asking you to act now. Do it when it's on your heart. I pray that they'll know in their final months that they're not alone.
Let's spill some tea.
Let's Spill Some Tea is sponsored by Artillery Tea Company. ArtilleryTeaCo.com is the website. Use the promo code RAV for 10% off. Artillery Tea is all natural, it's whole leaf, the tea bags are chemical free, and each of them can be used twice. Artillery Tea Company is family and veteran owned and operated, and a portion of your purchase goes to help veteran and first responder charities. Again, if you'd like to order, simply go to ArtilleryTeaCo.com, use the promo code RAV, and score yourself 10% off. All right, let's play a bit of President Trump's pre-inauguration rally in downtown Washington, D.C. that happened yesterday afternoon. Here's the president energizing the MAGA base before today's official swearing in. America's Voice coverage of President Trump's victory rally.
20,000 seats. Every single one is going to be filled.
This is a celebration for all Americans. They know that change is coming.
Thousands of people out here, and the party's just getting started.
We love Trump.
It's America first. That's all there's to it.
We got War Room Posse in the house.
These people are energetic. People looking for some change here.
It'll be a great 4 years.
Rock and roll, right?
Rock and roll.
We're all just praying for the president's safety.
God bless Donald Trump. God bless Donald Trump.
We are now at the dawn of our greatest victory. We will make America thrive again.
America's best days are still ahead.
We do great things here.
When Donald J. Trump is sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, the great comeback story begins and our country starts winning again.
And if you don't like it, too bad.
The dawn of the golden era of America is tomorrow.
We are going to have the greatest nation on earth. We can truly make a difference forever.
God bless America.
Let's make America great again.
America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much.
Allison, President Trump keeping things very interesting today. So many storylines that are morphing out of today's inauguration. Obviously, we've been reporting on the preemptive pardons from President Joe Biden, the outgoing president literally hours before he leaves office. President Trump will take office and then drop about 200 executive orders. He also making history by inviting foreign dignitaries to the inauguration. There's so many other storylines as well here for today.
So many storylines, but I do want to take a look at that rally because I think a big storyline for me that came out of that rally was that this is just the beginning. And that to the people in the crowd, to the people across the country, you have to have President Trump's back. This is just the beginning. There are going to be difficult days ahead, no doubt. And we need to be there for the president and for the decisions that he's going to make. And just as much as we all played a part in bringing this day to fruition, we have to keep going and hopefully bring more Americans along in this journey.
To your point, Allison, I think you make a great point that there are going to be some challenging days ahead. And it almost feels, because President Trump is hitting the ground running and dropping these hundreds of executive orders, that, oh, it's all going to be smooth sailing. Everything is going to change quickly. But that's very likely not the case. Some of these things will take a while. Some of these things will involve a process. It's not going to all be immediate.
No, it's absolutely going to take time. And when you're talking about the deportations and how that's going to roll out, we don't know if something's going to start this evening or into tomorrow. And the backlash and what we may see on the other end is going to be something that we have to be prepared for.
President Trump, of course, has laid out a number of priorities. Probably top of the list is securing the border and deporting people who are in this country illegally. But during yesterday's speech there at Capital One Arena, President Trump also alluded to the fact that he would be offering pardons for the J6ers. We're expecting that to happen today as well.
Absolutely. How does that happen? What does that look like? Does everyone get a pardon at the same time? And then taking a look at how that happened in the first place. I think there's a good percentage of this population who doesn't even really understand some of the nefarious actions that took place that day on January 6th. And we have to have the truth come to light. We need to know what happened.
Absolutely. Still to come, Allison, here on American Sunrise, we have our final thoughts on Inauguration Day 2025. We're back in 2 minutes.
It's an absolute problem. It happens all of the time. If you own property and have got equity, you can be a victim.
I'm here with Art Fitzenmeyer, a retired special agent with the FBI and senior advisor to Home Title Lock. Exactly what is house stealing?
That's a phrase I think that the FBI kind of coined when they first began seeing situations where people were forging documents, titles and deeds, and using those documents to gain access to the equity in the homes.
How can a scammer actually steal my home?
In the digital age, it's so easy for them to get the original document.
All the information is out there, right?
It's out there. They can download it and forge it.
And if you take it down to the county clerk house, won't they know if there's something wrong there?
When a title is presented to a county recorder and it's completely filled out and it's notarized, then they're required by law to accept the document and file it. They can't
So it looks
challenge
good, they can't question it.
They can't question it.
Once the title to your home is stolen and you don't know it, what do they do with it?
They begin to find places to take out loans.
Oh, they don't want your home.
They don't want it. They don't need to go see it. They can do it all at arm's length, and you're left holding the bag because the loan company is going to come after you. 90, 120 days later, your life is going to take a terrible turn.
As a homeowner, what can I do to protect my title?
The only thing you can do is stop it before that first loan transpires. And that's what we do for you at Home Title Lock. We monitor your title with our software. If anything disturbs your title, we alert you that something has happened to your title. If the alert takes place and you call in, we go to work immediately on your behalf to get your title back in your name.
So how do you sign up with Home Title Lock?
Go to HomeTitleLock.com.
HomeTitleLock.com. That's peace of mind, isn't it?
You'll sleep better that night. Protect your home, and it's what we do, and we do it better than anyone else.
Administration will inherit disasters at home and abroad, an economy plagued by inflation and high interest rates, a catastrophic border crisis. Nobody can believe they let people in. They have an open border policy. Do you think that makes sense? Open borders. Anybody wants to. Jails, prisons, mental institutions, gangs being emptied right through that ugly open border, a government that cannot care for its citizens in a time of emergency. Look at what's happening in Los Angeles. Look at what's happening in North Carolina. They've treated them so badly. In a planet on the brink of World War III, it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. But starting tomorrow, I will act with historic speed and strength and fix every single crisis facing our country. We have to do it. We're not going to have a country.
Well, Terrence, we have to do it, and we can do it. That's what I believe in my heart.
And President Trump will do it. That is the expectation of the American people. He was elected with a mandate, and he is starting that mandate today. As we've been saying all morning long, there are going to be hundreds of executive orders that he is going to rain down on the country, and he is going to begin moving his agenda forward. But he can't do it alone. He's not a man working in a silo. He's going to need the cooperation of Congress and the U.S. Senate. And the expectation from the American people is that they get on board. Otherwise, they're going to get primaried.
Absolutely. And also, all of you wonderful people out there, you've done so much so far, but this is only the beginning. We have to be reaching out to our communities, to our neighbors, and sharing the message of hope and America first, because that's what this is all about.
Absolutely. So it is going to be a momentous day. We, of course, will be covering it for you throughout the day here on Real America's Voice. It doesn't stop here. Our coverage continues, Allison.
Absolutely. We had a great show today. Thank you for joining us. We have so much more for you every morning, and it all starts at 8 a.m. Wonderful day. War Room is up next. Go boldly now. Have a beautiful day.
Still some tinkering going on with the inaugural address, but his aides have made really clear it's not like he's trying to ignore or paper over either what happened at the Capitol 2 weeks ago or what we've been through throughout 4 years of the Trump presidency. And the contrast on display tonight was so stark. I mean, those lights that are just shooting out from the Lincoln Memorial along the reflecting pool. It's like almost extensions of Joe Biden's arms embracing America. It was a moment where the new president came to town and sort of convened the country in this moment of remembrance, outstretching his arms. And contrast that with that video you just saw of a disgraced president on his way out at his lowest point in his presidency at the very end here by himself. Fighting for his political movement to live on.
Okay, I can't take anymore. That guy should be fired immediately. CNN, Zucker, you got to be embarrassed. Joe Biden's arms. This is a complete and total farce. And listen, they started the nullification project on Donald J. Trump in the first hour after he was president-elect at 2:30 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning on November 9th. And you know what? I identified the nullification project, but I never whined about it. I said, hey, they're Americans. I totally disagree with them. They're going to play, and they played not just Smash Mouth, right? Everything, the Russian collusion, all of it. But this is the home of the nullification project on this one. Don't forget it. We will never, ever, ever let ourselves be kowtow to that crap. Joe Biden's arms. That's a disgrace. That's a total disgrace. But I got to show that shot. Can we get this shot up? Here's why this is a joke. Right now, we're an hour or two away from the what's going to happen at the Capitol today, the inauguration ceremony and the inauguration address. There's nobody here, ladies and gentlemen. They can't blame this on COVID. This guy, for 84 million votes, where are the people? I want to say one thing. You want to talk about jamming this administration up, or regime, as Raheem calls it, immediately on everything? It's right now on this show. Right now, tell your friends, mock everybody that voted. Everybody there is sitting there going, "Oh my God, I can't believe you stole the election." I had so many friends vote for Obama or Biden, and the guys mocking me on social media. Take the emptiness and rub their nose in it today. Rub their nose in it. 80 million. Be nice, be polite. As I say, color inside the lines, but color bold today. Color bold today. This is the first day of the resistance to this stuff. They did it. Hey, I didn't whine about it. I said, hey, the resistance is really the media. It's not the Democratic Party. They're kind of hapless. Well, War Room's going to be the tip of the spear of that, and we are not going to back down an inch.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish, in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
It's Monday, 20 January in the year of our Lord 2025. It's Liberation Day here in the nation's capital. That's the shot right there. If we can go ahead, let's go to the Capitol right now, and our it's not a panel. My co-hosts are all with me today, all in one, and we're going to talk about this. It ain't that cold, folks, so it must be security. Right there, you see an empty west side of the Capitol, where normally in about 90 minutes, President Trump will be walking out to start the ceremony. The grandees would all be coming out before then, probably starting at 11 o'clock. Right now, where the ceremony stands, there at the White House having tea. They're going to leave at about 10:30, St. John's Church. You got that ceremony early this morning, Real America's Voice. Stephen K. Bannon here. I've got my wingmen are with me. Natalie Winters, the frozen Natalie Winters joins us right now. Jack Posobiec, Dave Bratt. First off, guys, I got a question. We've done, I don't know, 6 or 7 since war's been going around from this very roof, right? And this is this that cold, Natalie? I'll start with you, and I want to go to Poso and Brad. Is this? I mean, why are they doing it in the Capitol today? Because I look out here, we can get that camera. You got that beautiful west, and remember, up until Ronald Reagan in 1981, it was done on the east side of the Capitol. That's where Jack Kennedy's speech, which by the way is 22 degrees. That's where Lincoln gave his first and second inaugural address. FDR, every famous thing in American history was on the east side, facing the war room, right? The Supreme Court, the Library of Congress war room. They moved it because of Reagan's understanding of, and Michael Deaver's understanding of showtime and scale, that you got the beautiful down the mall, reflecting pole down the mall, and to the Washington Monument. And here today, guys, I am confused. We had 250,000 tickets. Okay, you had I think 10,000 people seated of people that work on the campaign that were close to President Trump. Then we had 240,000 who was going to go back. There was expected at least a crowd today of 1 million people. The missed opportunity to me, it is a beautiful day like Kennedy's inauguration, kind of that crisp, clear, the sun will be out all day. Right here, I'll tell you, it's down in the low 20s, but in the sun, it feels like it's 40 degrees, right? Way better. Natalie, let's start with you, and Jack, then I want to talk about why is this empty? I don't understand why this is empty, and I think it sets a tone. This city is hostile to President Trump. Look, we're here to celebrate and commemorate, but understand this is like taking Berlin in 1945. Yes, they signed the surrender documents, and yes, they were compliant to a degree, but underneath they weren't. And that's what I think this is the epitome of what we're seeing today. Natalie Winters.
Well, and Steve, I think even if it were actually 20 degrees colder, I don't know about you guys, but MAGA's pretty tough.
Absolutely.
Right? Our grassroots, I think they have tenacity.
You're saying at 6 degrees we should have been out there, right?
If it were negative, I think people would still be clamoring, right? I think time and time again, we've demonstrated that.
Because the city's packed right now with folks. Of course, they're doing a bar crawl, as MAGA would. But the city is packed with people right now. We've got hundreds of thousands of MAGA have shown up, and you're right, that they would welcome coming into tough environment.
And I think the reason why you're seeing this, like you said, it goes back to the opening, right? It is the nullification projects, just a sort of different iteration. And to that point, I think the reason why you're seeing this right now is because President Trump won the popular vote, right? He won the electoral college vote. So they have to find some way to rip the legitimacy, the authenticity, and the actual legitimate regime, which is something we haven't had for the last 4 years from him. And they just don't want to be able to have the beautiful pictures.
I want to thank Real America's Voice and my own crack production team here at the Worm. That opening was from 20 January of 2021. We started with that, and we said, we committed at the time, we're going to be the tip of the spear to turn this thing around. Poso, Bratt, What's going on here? Why is it not two? Right now, there'd be 200. There'd be 1 million people out here. It'd be all MAGA. We couldn't even hear ourselves. We picked this exact spot, and I want to thank Rob and Parker Sig. We got the farthest shot you can probably get here. Just absolutely, so we have a clear, President Trump, all the dignitaries, everybody.
Look,
and here, there's going to be I hear it's 600. They taken it from 1,000 to 600. I know people that made the 1,000 cut, and now they said they just got bumped about 30 minutes ago.
Look, Steve, what they're doing here is they want to deny the fact that President Trump has the support that he has. They don't want people out here seeing it. They don't want, as Natalie said, you don't want to see the optics. You don't want to see the images, the pageantry.
Is that it? They don't want to see. You're saying they don't want the optics. They don't want
people's dictator. It doesn't quite work with the whole autocracy.
Meanwhile, wait. Right? So let me get this right. He's got just as many people as Joe Biden did 4 years ago when I was standing on this roof that day, when he didn't have anybody other than Pete Buttigieg down there.
There was no seats. I remember they had white circles with my stamp toes.
My favorite part of Biden's inauguration.
There was only like 100 people on the stand.
No, you remember that in the back? They had the flags. Remember? So they decorated the entire lawn with flags, and then they said each flag represents 1,000 voters for Biden. I said, oh look. So the little flags. Remember the little flags?
I remember
so
that.
I said, look, that's perfect. So the crowd is fake. It's just like the votes.
Exactly. Dave Bratt.
Yeah. No conspiracies, but no coincidences. That's not a coincidence. Trump is the greatest populist leader we've ever seen in this country.
At least since Jackson.
Yeah,
General Jackson.
Throw in Jackson. You'd have to rip him away from the people. Everything he's done for the past 8 years has been loving being in front of the people. So something major's going on. I don't know what it is yet. We'll find out.
Guys, when we're talking, I want to make sure the audience sees this, because we're going to be talking a lot about this today, because this underpins the Days of Thunder at high noon. You can't even imagine what's going to happen. We're going to spend some time on that. But I want to go back. If the crew, if Real America's Voice, you can cut out. Let's go back to this. The optics here would have been unbelievable, right? It would have been. This was a sweeping victory of many different ethnic groups coming together. The joyous nature. People are so pumped up and so excited. The city is sullen because this is the imperial capital, and the rebels won.
And Steve, the security posture that we're seeing for this is higher than it was when Biden was inaugurated, with the exception of the troop posture. But the road closures, we didn't have road closures like this when President Trump was inaugurated the first time. No. We didn't have the city on lockdown. No. That rally yesterday at Capital One, where people couldn't even get inside, and it's raining and there's sleet coming down. And look, people stayed out there because it's MAGA. MAGA's tough. MAGA's combat tough. But the understanding is this town, Mayor Bowser, all the people, they're fighting tooth and nail to deny you the ability to celebrate your victory.
If we can do a split screen, too, I want to make sure we get the door at the White House. We want to cover. They're having tea right now. They're having high tea. I'm sure that's pleasant between Dr. Jill Biden and Melania. I'm sure they're.
Have someone else try the tea first.
Some fashion advice.
Giving her some tips.
Wait, don't drink the tea first. Wait till she drinks it.
Yeah, folks. We were going to have people in. We're going to have guests throughout the day. By the way, we're going to be here, I think, till 7 o'clock tonight. Just with War Room, the Jack Posobiec Show. Charlie Kirk's actually...
Steve says he's going to be here until 7 o'clock. We'll see how it goes.
Steve will be here till 7.
Other people, no. Charlie's actually going to be part of the, I think, festivities over at the Capitol Center. So they had a rally yesterday. Today, they've also canceled the parade. Now, I've been here since a kid, and I would tell you, they've had the parade when it's 10 degrees, 15 degrees, 20 degrees. Yeah. And I don't like, in fact, people should know in 17, I didn't participate in any of this thing. Miller and I helped write the speech. We practiced with the president at the Blair House many times. I didn't go to any of the balls, none of the dinners. Miller and I, we went to the speech to see it, sat on the podium, got the Secret Service, took us right down. We were the first guy. We were the landing team of the White House, right? To get to work right there. And President Trump had so much to do.
You're too humble, though. Steve gave a wonderful speech last night at a gala at the Watergate. But I would also add, too, to that point, I think the fact that there probably is some level of a security threat, right, against MAGA, that is probably the logical conclusion. Is that not the perfect culmination of 4 years of Joe Biden's regime? Right, rather, it's the importation of undocumented criminals, foreign terrorists from every country that hates this.
So, Brad, to Natalie's point in Posobiec, this city's in lockdown. Look, the War Room is relatively close to the Supreme Court, as people know. We've seen this thing in lockdown. Life to J6. Nancy
Steve, you're always close to court.
Either in it or outside of it. No, but today there's a lockdown that I've never seen before. We can't even get guests up here to go. We're gonna have to get them by. We're gonna have to get them by.
In addition to the excitement,
those are seconds. Okay, short commercial break.
Good.
We're gonna return to the War Room live, the nation's capital, in just a second.
Fellow Americans, did you know a war is being waged right now for how you spend your hard-earned dollars? Over 100 countries worldwide are preparing to switch to a digital currency. Now, this means cash will be replaced by money governments can monitor and track. This tracking makes it possible to collect data from every purchase you make and the ability to decide what you can buy and when you can buy it. What's more, your assets can be frozen or even seized. I'm appalled at such an assault on financial privacy. My friends at Swiss America have a report called The Secret War on Cash with an action plan to protect your financial privacy. So please, call or text the number on your screen for a free copy. With the growing reality of a government-backed digital currency, the time to act is now. So call or text the number on your screen for your free Secret War report.
Hello, this is Mike Huckabee. President Trump said he wants to take back the White House and teach our kids to love our country. That's why my team created the Kids Guide to President Trump. It'll teach your kids all about President Trump's accomplishments and his vision for America. And right now, I want to give it to you for free as part of this free gift bundle.
Order your free Kids Guide to President Trump, get a free bonus guide, and a free membership to AMAC featuring dozens of money-saving benefits at kidsneedtrump.com. That's kidsneedtrump.com.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. I'd look at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
Relief Factor is a daily supplement that doesn't just mask pain, it helps eliminate it. Call or go online now for our 3-week quick start, just $19.95.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back. I want to thank our sponsor, Birch Gold, birchgold.com. There's going to be some turbulence, folks. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We hit the debt ceiling. We'll have a lot to talk about that throughout the day. Bond market's got a vote here. Magnificent view of the Capitol. A beautiful sunny day. Low 20s. What's so stunning is that it's haunting. This is empty. I mean, this would be one of the biggest crowds ever assembled. And I think, remember, I want to say again, Jack Kennedy's was done on the east side, which the crowd could probably only get to probably 10,000 max. It's just a small, compacted area over there in the plaza, Supreme Court and back, Library of Congress, maybe get 15 or 20,000. Here, they were thinking of 1 million. There are 250,000 tickets, I think.
Yeah.
And, I think 10,000 seated, and then you had the rest were standing. It looks, Dave Bratt, this, and I realize inside the Capitol is one of the great buildings in the world, and it's a magnificent space, everything like that. But for an inauguration of the President of the United States, the majesty, solemnity, look at this, President Trump on that huge, magnificent stage. Why is this empty?
Yeah, well, you just said it. What they're denying President Trump is that majesty, solemnity. 8 years ago, I was sitting underneath herald trumpets, and look what just came to your mind about the great presidents. It's standing right there, putting your hand on the Bible and taking solemn oaths. I got some language on that later. But they're keeping him from the solemnity and the seriousness of the day, right?
You're saying when those trumpets come out and they call the herald, the herald trumpets for everybody to gather. It's like from ancient Rome.
Yes.
The clans, the tribes are supposed to gather when they hear that.
And
that starts off the ceremony.
The symbolism of the presidency, the whole event is scripted from soup to nuts for American greatness, to renew all the historical themes that made us great. The Judeo-Christian part comes out. The Bible comes out. All the other representatives are behind him, symbolically supporting him, theoretically. I hope they do this time. So in the staging, guys, if we can cut back to that, the staging, and it'll be slightly different, or a lot different inside the Capitol. For the audience, the staging that's the entire political class of Washington, D.C., of both parties, and the administrative state and deep state. They're all there, representatives. Supreme Court. You've got both houses of Congress, but you've also got members of different agencies, etc. It's all there, standing in back of him as he faces the people.
And like I said today, you're gonna miss those images, those powerful images of Trump and this amazing comeback.
I have a proposal. I have an idea here. Look, we can complain about it. We can whine about it. But here's the thing. Is there anything that says...
Right above us, that's another military helicopter. You got security helicopters all over the place.
There's nothing on paper, Steve. Hold on. Think outside the box. This is MAGA here, right? There's nothing that says President Trump can't give an address to the nation anytime that he wants.
Any place that he wants.
Anytime, any place. He did it at Mount Rushmore. I was there on the 4th of July. He could do it right here. You could do it right here the minute that the weather is all cleared. You say, President Trump's address to the nation. Yep. Look, remember he wanted to do sort of that early State of the Union back in 2017? He did address to Congress, address to the Joint Chamber. Fine. You do an address to the American people. You hold it right here. You give the tickets out again. You bring the people out. We'll bring all the trumpets because Brat needs his trumpets. You have everything you want, all the pomp, all the circumstance. Why not? Why not do it to get those images, to get the optics, to get the legitimacy and the solemnity?
Okay, let's talk to
necessary.
people. We've got military helicopters all over. And you know the story. John Solomon's in the main studio. We're going to go to John in a minute. So we're doing three things. We've got John Solomon doing investigations and investigative reporting for us. He's got the inside scoop. We're here at the Capitol. The ceremony is going to take place inside the Capitol. They're still at the White House right now. Have they come out? They have not come out. I'm looking at I'm looking at my producer who worked and partied all night and got here at 6 in the morning. He's terrific.
One piece to throw out. We do have the watch party up for the posse, for the MAGAs, for the people who couldn't be here over at Gaylord. We've got room for maybe 1,000, 1,500, maybe 2 if the fire marshal ain't looking.
Gaylord Hotel?
Gaylord National Harbor. People are already up. People are already filling in. I didn't charge a dime for this. It's completely free. And huge thank you to the Poles who came in and helped.
The Poles always come through. They always come through.
Hey,
always come through in cold weather.
When the Ottomans are at the gate, Steve, who do you call? You call the Winged Hussars.
We got
Michael Rashawn and Dominic Charczynski from Republica TV and the MEP over there from Poland. They came over.
So the Gaylord Hotel,
they offered us their hall.
National Harbor. Google it right now. If you're in the area and events of your assigned to have been canceled, clearly if you're a ticket holder, we know it's at least 240 or 50,000 minimum MAGA. And I think people thought the crowd would be 1 million, and a lot of MAGA came without tickets. I know even tickets were hard to get. So if you got it, Gaylord Hotel. Go, Jack Bassett, one of those huge ballrooms, conference rooms.
It's a huge conference hall.
Conference hall. Okay, that's like where CPAC is.
Right down by
Check
the
it out now.
riverfront.
If it'd be better than freezing. And not just that, you have limited access here in the Capitol compound. The people are not wandering around the streets.
You can't see anything.
Right.
Can we show that?
You can't
see. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to.
Is that police right
That's
there?
all police.
Okay, so right down, even on the gates, it's not spectators. This is all police. 2 things. Brett, let me go to you. Then Pose, I want you and Natalie to jump in on this security. Was it the outer perimeter that was a problem, or is it the drones? Brett, what do you got for us?
Yeah, well, just here's some of the solemnity. People in
As it were, the noise of thunder. One of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, heard, as it were, the noise of thunder. One of the 4 beasts saying, "Come
sea. And I saw, and behold, a white horse. There's a man going around taking names, and he decides who to free and who to blame. Everybody won't be treated all the same. There'll be a golden ladder reaching down when the man comes around. The hairs on your arm will stand up at the terror in each sip and in each sup. You partake of that last offered cup, or disappear into the potter's ground when the man comes around. Hear the trumpets, hear the pipers, 100 million singing, multitudes are marching to the big kettle drum. Voices calling, voices crying. Some are born and some are dying. It's Alpha and Omega's kingdom come. And the whirlwind is in the thorn tree. The virgins are trimming their wicks. The whirlwind is in the palm trees. It's hard for thee to kick against the bricks. Armageddon, no shalom, no shalom. Then the Father will he call his check-ins home. The wise men will bow down before the throne, and at his feet will cast the golden crowns when the man comes around. Whoever is unjust, let him be unjust still. Whoever is righteous, let him be righteous still. Whoever is filthy, let him be filthy still. Listen to the words written down when the man comes around. Hear the trumpets, hear the pipers, 100 million angels singing. Multitudes are marching to the big kettle drum. Voices calling and voices crying. So is it some and some have died. It's Alpha and Omega's kingdom come. And the whirlwind is in the thorn tree. The virgins all are trimming their whips. The whirlwind is in the thorn tree. It's hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And measure understanding but confound when the man comes around.
And I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder.
Yes. Young men and women.
God bless you.
Everybody that's serving their country down there.
8,000 total.
It's thousands, right? It's
total.
thousands. So God bless you. Thank you for what you're doing. And today, the good news is working under the thumb of the administrative state and the regime is over. That's the greatness of this day, the celebration. There's joy in the hearts. There was a grandmother down there when I entered in a wheelchair trying to get in.
When I saw her.
In the cold.
I know.
So that our
and
gang
she's blocked.
is tough.
And she's blocked.
And then
she was
couldn't
blocked.
get in.
And then they
Couldn't
started
get in the
wheeling
mall.
her. She came off. She was singing Ave Maria.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Tough as
so
nails.
Fantastic. Okay, hold on. We're gonna take
That's MAGA.
a short commercial break. I want to thank birchgold.com, End of the Dollar Empire, Modern Monetary Theory, the chaos in the capital markets that you're going to see because they're trying to thwart President Trump too. And I'm not so sure that is not CCP and others. Like I said, the allies of the United States, particularly people in the United States that we support, ought to be on the bid. They ought to be sitting on the bid, right? Whatever out there for the United States, a government treasury, they ought to be sitting on the bid. Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. Dave Bratt, Jack Posobiec, the Natalie Winter, Stephen K. Bannon here, Real America's Voice, The War Room. We're here for, I don't know, many hours to come. We're going to handle the ceremony this morning and then go Days of Thunder at noon.
America has the greatest economy in the world, but I think most of us would agree we have a problem. The cost of almost everything is up. Home prices, rent, food, insurance. Every sector has taken a hit, including automotive. More Americans are keeping their cars for longer, including me. And one way that we can make life more affordable is CarShield, America's #1 auto protection company.
CarShield's rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau and named America's most trusted auto protection company.
With CarShield, drivers could save thousands on covered parts and systems like your engine, transmission, entertainment system, and more. It's the protection that I trust, just like these other happy customers.
With CarShield, saving the $2,700 has been a real blessing. I love CarShield. It is my lifeline.
Our life as nurses, we just step up and we help people, and it's really nice when somebody steps up and helped us. If our car breaks down, CarShield administrators have our back.
If your car's out of warranty, it's not a matter of if it'll break down, but when. Call CarShield before it's too late and protect yourself from expensive car repairs.
CarShield is ready to help year-round nationwide with thousands of vetted shops to choose from, or their concierge service to help you find a mechanic near you. Unlike other companies, they don't just send you to the cheapest place in town. I trust CarShield, and so should you.
I have filed a total of over 5 claims, and my price from when I signed up never went up. And with the age of my car, that is security.
CarShield is a U.S. company supporting hardworking Americans save over $1 billion in expensive auto repair costs. More of us are keeping our cars for longer, so give CarShield a call now before a breakdown happens. Call now.
Call CarShield now before a breakdown and see how they're saving drivers money on covered auto repairs. Call 800-635-5126. 800-635-5126.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, thank you very much. I gotta get my clock right here. It's a little bit off. We like a sharp clock here at Worm, you know. How more gonzo can we get? No. Guys, I gotta.
Look, you want to get more ganja? I'll send Natalie down. I'll send Natalie down there.
As a kid, you know, from
Natalie, head for the steps.
Yeah, run across the field right there. No,
go for it.
As a kid, from being in Richmond, you come here all the time. We've been here since 2011 or 2010, I think, with Andrew Breitbart. This is very eerie, Brett, and folks at home. This is just not right. This part of the Capitol complex is a ghost town.
By the way, folks,
now it's not a ghost town because of the weather. I just want to put that to bed. Okay, it is not the weather. It is not that cold. It's cold, but it's called January, right? Kennedy did it on the east side. It was 6 degrees that day, but it was so dramatic with the vapor smoke coming out of people's mouths and that magnificent inaugural address. Lincoln did it the first and second time. Here in the West, you've had the West Wing, or the West side of the Capitol. You've had Reagan's powerful, Trump's 16. There's something not right with this, and it's not the weather. So if it's not the weather, the Imperial Capitol, they are hostile to President Trump.
They're winking at you.
Trump's action today, we're going to get into in a second, is going to be amazing on every different level, as we've been talking to you. It's just incredible. But why are we sitting up here with police, military helicopters, and no people for as far as the eye can see? I mean, when I say the Capitol compound, I mean for miles around to Union Station, all the way over to where the administrative state is. There are literally no bodies except for police, and I don't even see National Guard here. Maybe some National Guard. Everything's blocked off. What is causing this, Jack Posobiec?
Steve, what's causing this is an entrenched bureaucracy that's hostile to the American people. They're hostile to Trump. They're hostile to the people. They're hostile to this movement. They're hostile to, wait for it, the majority in this country, because we won the popular vote. And no AP, it's not 49.999. It's over 50%.
You're saying it won the popular vote.
Terrified.
That's why they got to shut it down.
Well, not just that. They're terrified of the mandate. They're terrified of the optics. They're terrified of giving him any. Look, Steve, it's been 8 years. It's been almost a decade since we've had a proper inauguration in this town. That's why President Trump should come back here, shove it in their faces and say, we're doing a national address. MAGA is coming back. And they want the legacy of MAGA in D.C. to be J6.
Yes.
They want that to be the image of MAGA, not peaceful MAGA here celebrating.
That's why they don't want Trump out here.
They don't want him out there because that would be giving him the victory compared to the last image of MAGA on those steps.
Jump in here. They want the image being when the
only
protesters
image of the protest. That's the only thing they want you to see.
They don't want MAGA. They don't want the
culmination.
of MAGA,
they don't want Act 3.
MAGA.
They don't want Act 3. They don't want you to see Act 3. They're denying it.
I think the next 4 years, right, the sort of main tenet of their resistance, whatever form it takes, is the idea that Trump is an autocratic dictator, and just the optics of this generally undermines that. But more precisely, I think you hear the refrain coming from MSNBC, similar like they did in Brexit, saying that, the working class people who voted for Trump, they didn't actually know what they were voting for, right?
They were suckers.
It was a haphazard decision.
Right.
And I think that the millions of people who would have showed up here is a direct contradiction.
They can't show that sea of people.
We have breaking news from your crack staff. Bidens are leaving the White House, leaving the T. So the transition looks like it's in process. Things are starting to move. And the American people, when you see a shutdown like this, Biden certainly was not in control of this decision nor the other decisions prior. And
Biden left the White House a long time ago.
That shows you the power of the administrative state. Somebody else is making all these.
John Solomon joined us up here on election night. We've asked him to be in a warmer place at the main studio of Real America's Voice in D.C. If we can split screen, I'd like to keep the camera on what's happening at the White House as they get ready for the rotunda. Do we have outside the White House? Because that's where they're going to leave from. Okay.
Elon Musk is there.
Okay.
Susie Wiles just arrived.
The surrender of the oligarchs. John Solomon, can we get John Solomon in here? John.
Hey guys.
Why is the Capitol complex empty today? You're the most well-sourced guy in town. Is there a security threat? Because it's not the cold, brother. You know that. If it's not cold enough for me to be up here in a barber, right? It's not that cold. So John Solomon, why are we not on this magnificent west side of the Capitol with President Trump and this magnificent sunshine and 1 million multi-ethnic, multi-racial, right? MAGA followers cheering him on what would be one of the greatest inauguration days ever, sir.
Yeah, listen, I think you have it right. The intelligence and police state have concocted the notion that there might be some Antifa and there might be some...
Okay, let's come back here to it. Okay. Can we hear John Solomon? John, I'm sorry, we couldn't hear you. Your audio here was bad. Can you repeat that?
How about now? Can you hear me? Yeah, absolutely. Listen, the reason why is that the intelligence state, the police state, have raised a concern that perhaps the Antifa and Proud Boys or some other group might clash today. So let's keep all the people out of the place where they could celebrate and move democracy forward and give Donald Trump the smallest possible inauguration he could have. Just like over the weekend, they leaked the details about the planned immigration raids in Chicago tomorrow, putting officers' life in jeopardy. The resistance to Donald Trump is wounded, but it is not dead. And all these little things that you're seeing over the last 48 hours are signs that they're going to continue to put their foot out, continue to try to trip up Donald Trump. Here's the thing. Donald Trump won't care about that. In a few hours, he's going to unleash nearly 100 executive orders and presidential memorandum. He will be fully in charge of this country, and this country will be changing no matter how much resistance the administrative state provides him.
Let me go over this again. You don't think it was outer perimeter police, drones? You think it was Antifa? And if that's the case, doesn't Trump get a vote on that? I mean, if they're telling me it's Antifa, I'm saying, hey, bro, we're going to have 1 million people out here. I think it's terrible I don't care if even it's outer perimeter or drones, to show the enemies of the United States, particularly in Beijing, that we don't have the security enough. Go ahead. We don't secure enough to put on.
Can I just respond to that? Because when we had the deplorable 8 years ago last night, we had 500 Antifa outside attacking us, attacking our event, lighting fires, throwing stuff at us, throwing batteries and eggs and any acid, anything they could find, attacking my mother, Tanya, who's my wife now, she wasn't at the time. Pete Hegseth was there, by the way. Go watch Pete Hegseth's footage, by the way, of the Antifa riot, of the 500 that were out there, and they had phalanxes of the MPD came out, by the way.
Trump loved that
the
footage.
MPD, by the way, came out, and they protected us in all of our, and we're coming in the sequins and the tuxes and all of it and going on. So don't tell me for a second, if that's what they're trying to tell you, that it's Antifa, that's why they're
John, is that what you're hearing from the Biden security apparatus?
Ridiculous.
Is that what you're hearing?
For what we heard is that there was an intelligence warning put out, not Islamic terrorism. Always the worry about lone wolves after the machete guy a couple days ago. But the only known intelligence concern, by the way, is just a domestic concern that maybe two different sides of the ideological spectrum might clash on Inauguration Day. I know that's what the police state and the intelligence state was putting out there over the last 2 days. There is no Islamic terrorism threat that they know of, no credible concern about that. There's always the lone wolf concern like New Orleans. But coupled with the weather has led to this sort of empty screen. But I'm telling you, it won't matter to Donald Trump. All the optics aside, he's going to change this country. By tonight, America will be fundamentally changed. Birthright citizenship going forward, ended. Military to the border, a national emergency on energy. What Donald Trump will do with just several swipes of a pen will transform 4 years of Biden's America into Trump's America.
John, hang on. But John, is he? Do we have the White House shot? Okay, just leaving. I don't have my glass on, so we're going to wing this. President is heading now to the Capitol. You've had Elon Musk, you had Susie Wiles, others walking the Capitol. We're going to do that. John, but here's the point. We're supposed to have a kick-down-the-door raid tomorrow in Chicago, leaked by the administrative state, 4 administrative state people on Saturday. Last night, Tom Homan and guys around him said, hey, maybe not, it won't do it. President Trump is going to be the president. He's going to sign 100 executive actions, another 100 EOs, all of it. You're going to see action across the board. But the reality is we have not dug out the administrative state. We have definitely not dug out the deep state. You've been on that beat for 20 years. You just don't think they're going to say, hey, because Trump takes the oath of office and MAGA's victorious, they're going to embrace it and say, oh, this is terrific, do anything you want to do?
Yeah, no, they're not. Listen, they're going to continue to put their foot out and try to trip up. The biggest thing that Donald Trump and his team and Tom Homan and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi can do is to find a few early leakers, a few people that defied the president's orders, and make a public example of them. Let people know you're going to prison and Joe Biden can't pardon you now. You get in the way of the federal government, you will be prosecuted to the maximum hilt. That will send a state. Because listen, these guys are tough until they got to go to prison. Then all of a sudden they're not so tough anymore. They're whining and crying and sniveling and running away. Make the guys who moved out of Washington but collect a paycheck here come back or sue them for fraud, for not being in the city where they're supposed to be working right now. The second the president makes a few examples of the of the administrative state, they'll start cowering. Otherwise, they're going to continue to play this game. Donald Trump's current team is prepared to make some examples, warranted examples of people who obstruct justice, people who put security of officers at risk, people who defy orders. Listen, we had a poll out last week from Scott Rasmussen. I think it's the most amazing poll. Like more than 50% of the bureaucrats who supported Kamala Harris, who, by the way, the majority of the federal bureaucrats, say they will try to defy President Trump. There is a deep state. They even admitted to it in a poll. Resistance. But the second that deep state pays consequences, it will start to recede.
We had Rob Bluey on last week about that poll. Shocking. Over 50% of the administrative state. That's not even the deep state guys. The hardest of the hardcore. 50% of the administrative state, as Solomon just said we're going to resist Trump's actions. That's what we're in. We got the helicopters around. They're actually going to do split screen. They're heading now up to the Capitol. You've got other of the VIPs arriving in the Capitol. We're going to take a short commercial break here in a minute. Dave Bratt, your thoughts as we get ready. We're 80 minutes away from President Trump returning as President of the United States. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I'll just give folks, if you haven't ever taken your kids or family to the dome of the U.S. Capitol, equally iconic, right? All religious. The figures up at the top, they look small to the eyeball. They're 20, 30-foot tall figures. All religious iconography pointing toward the heavens as you look toward the dome. And then all the American patriotism. from
Good.
George Washington crossing the Delaware, the great paintings around. And I think we're seeing President Trump driving over to the rotunda, but make sure you get your family there. Because it is just you have to go there and bring your kids once in your life.
The good offices of Real America's Voice. We're not going to have no more commercial breaks until President Trump's inaugural address is over. So for the next hour and a half, they're now heading from the White House up there. You guys can probably see better than I can. The personages coming in inside the Rotunda Dome, and I believe it's only been done once before with President Reagan on his second term.
Yeah.
Right, it was bitter cold that day. I think it was 6-7 degrees.
Yeah.
Right, they had it inside the dome itself. There were 1,000 as of last night, and that's coming from the 250,000 that were here down to I think 600. There's going to be.
By the way, what you're seeing right now is the live shot. That is President Trump's motorcade. He's currently on his way making up. I think he's driving by the FBI headquarters right there. And he's heading.
That's the FBI headquarters. That after cash is confirmed, we're going to take it apart.
That looks
brick
like the
by
J. Edgar
brick.
Hoover building right there. And then he's going to be heading right up from the Capitol, coming up Pennsylvania Avenue directly to the United States Capitol, where he's going to put his hand on that Bible.
If you see all the beautiful buildings that are around here in the Capitol complex, and then you see the FBI headquarters. It's brutal. It's called
disgusting.
It's brutalist architecture. It's the fascist article of the 1930s, right? It was Mussolini's that theory of brutalist architecture. It's an eyesore.
I'm going to give you Catholics a shout out. Brumidi painted that the Apotheosis at the top of the dome of the Capitol. He worked for the Vatican, for the Pope, and so you're talking the top of the line. George Washington is sitting there flanked by the cherubim and seraphim and whatever. I mean that. You don't get too much better than that, folks. Get your family out and take a trip.
No, it's fantastic. And that's today, instead of being on the west side of the Capitol, be inside. President Trump will be giving, and I think he'll be giving remarks. His remarks today, as I said this at the speech last night, he's trying to unite the country. He's going to have a unifying speech. They're trying to bring the country together, as is, he's trying to do. He's going to talk, I think, a lot about the sunlit uplands, a lot about what he intends as his vision of taking the country forward after this debacle we've just had.
Well, here,
go ahead.
Look, the country is united. The country is united behind the agenda that they voted for in 2024 in November. That's the unity. And then the unity will be achieved through fulfilling the agenda that the American people voted for. We can't let this town tell us that there isn't a mandate. We can't let the people who made this happen today blame it on Antifa. Antifa was setting limos on fire last time around.
I think it's the motorcade's coming right by us.
If we can get behind us, I don't know if we can
Real
see
America's
that.
Voice, if you can get the shot.
There it is.
Onto the motorcade. It's coming right below us.
The beast. There's the beast.
We're in the media
That's
center.
the
101.
solemnity. There's the solemnity.
There you
right?
go.
Here it comes.
There's the beast.
There he
right
is.
there.
He's passing us right now.
The President of the United States is passing it. That would be Donald Trump. Also, the usurper. Have that shot
for the kids.
Wow.
It's right to the cap.
Going viral now.
We're on Constitution Avenue. We're at 101, right next to the FBI headquarters. This is the Fox News is here, all the big news agencies, and of course, the voice of MAGA, Real America's Voice, in the war room.
We're in enemy territory. I think you're underselling. I was walking up the elevator.
Okay, Jack, you have all these folks should see when you have this motorcade. You've got, paramedics, you've got paramilitary, you got military, you got Secret Service, you have all of it. But now...
Oh, no, but Antifa. We're too worried about Antifa, Steve. None of these guys can handle a couple of goons from Antifa, apparently.
Right.
Talk to me about these new...
Sorry, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I'm not, by the way, I'm not knocking Solomon's reporting.
No,
to
Solomon's
be clear,
Solomon's giving you the straight skinny. That's what they're talking about.
If that's the excuse... Yes. Then I want to find the guy. I want to find the guy who did that, and I'll send him to an Antifa meeting.
Talk to me about these new the antennas. Have gotten a lot of visibility on the vehicles themselves.
So what you're looking at on those antennas, that's counter drone technology. Those are jammers that operate on. It's basically a randomized jammer. So they do frequency copying to potentially try to jam any communications between drones and their operators. This is something that really came out of the battlefield in Ukraine. It's something that we've seen in the counter-drone electronic warfare, the EW
So our
battle
$250 billion that's Zelensky and his cronies skimmed off 20% off the top we at least ended up with anti-drone technology.
A little bit, but
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better.
I'll tell you
already.
what, though. One thing that the Russians do to beat that on the battlefield, by the way, and Eric Prince has talked about this on my show on Human Events, that they beat it with old tech. Steve, they just run like a fiber optic cable, basically as thin as a fishing line, but a mile long. They attach it to the drone. Boom, no signal.
Instead of having crowds up and down this street traditionally to wave and to cheer the president as he comes, the president-elect as he comes up to be greeted by the American people. They want to make
it look like a funeral procession.
It looks like a funeral procession. It's absolutely. There's nobody here. Yeah. Just cops. It looks like the Metro Police
and the White House, the People's House. Right. These are not empty phrases, and this is the Congress of the representatives of the people of the United States, and it's empty. It's barren. On a normal day, it's crawling.
It's a message.
It's a message.
It's a message.
Message received. Message received.
They're pulling up right now.
Okay.
Brad, can you see that? Because it's beyond my...
Great.
And here's the response.
They're pulling
to the
up in front of the Capitol.
The response
right now.
to the message is when all of the bureaucrats get fired, when we schedule all of you guys, and we take down the SES level, when we take out the 15s and the 14s and all the GSs, and you're all crying to us, and the media saying, "Oh no, oh boo-hoo, who's going to run the government?" We're going to say, "Sorry, you chose this course of
we're going
action.
to keep the visual up there. You can see the arrival of the president-elect and all the major entourage. John Solomon, at noon, as soon as President Trump takes the oath, my understanding is thousands of Biden people have already been given their walking papers. They're to clean out their offices and be gone by noon. I mean thousands. I think every commission, every board that people are on, they're government appointees. The 3,000 non-Senate confirmed he's got, and most of the Senate confirmed. Plus, I believe we're going to see U.S. attorneys, and I think they're going to clean out a couple of rat's nests to some of these U.S. attorneys. Maybe Southern District of New York, just a random thought. John Solomon, what are you hearing with your sources?
Well, listen, there will be a fundamentally different-looking government by 5 p.m. today. There will be Trump aides taking
while we're waiting for John,
position.
I'll let the folks at home that haven't been here. The Capitol, the architects of the city, the Capitol is connected to the White House by Pennsylvania Avenue. But looking right behind us, here's your trick question for the day. What road connects the Supreme Court in the far background to the Capitol? Answer: none. And that's the way it should be, because the Justice Department and the rule of law is supposed to be separate, independent, and following the Constitution. So architecturally, they did not connect the Supreme Court to the U.S. Capitol. They're supposed to be separate entities, and boy, I'm yearning for the day where that actually happens.
Well, in the first couple of decades, the Supreme Court was actually in the basement of the Senate, wasn't it?
Right.
In fact, I think when they gave the
you can take a tour.
The Dred Scott decision, it was that old chamber of the Supreme Court. It moved over after, I think, the Civil War.
Yep.
You're right. When this magnificent building that people see today. Dave, put us there. Now, I don't think we're going to have all members of Congress. I know you can't have spouses, but with the 600 to 1,000, and we've heard they've cut down to 600, you limit it. And I think most of the foreign dignitaries, it's very unusual. I think the first time they've ever invited foreign dignitaries. Yesterday we had a big celebration for Bolsonaro and the Brazilians, and Bolsonaro was restricted from coming. But put us inside the Capitol. What's that going to be like?
Yeah, well, I am kind of surprised the rotunda. I can't picture that being much bigger than the House chamber where they have the State of the Union, right? The State of the Union, they house
much smaller.
That's what I would think, right? And
the House chamber is far, far larger than the rotunda. We're talking where
the rotunda, people should know. So if you see the top of the Capitol, it's the rotunda's directly below it.
Right. Yeah, and then below that, there's other archives, Statuary Hall below that, and it's going to be some tight quarters, but it is stunning. Visually, it's stunning, and so hopefully they get that right for President Trump.
Can we get that shot up from inside? Because, Steve, I'm just going to call it out. Where's the formality of the dress of the attendees of this? The people are there. They're not. I saw Elon was wearing a tux. I'll give him that. But you're seeing people dressed like it's another day at work at the Capitol. You're not seeing the formality. There was a time in this country where people would understand that when you dress for a ceremonial event like this, a historic event, that you drop the blue ties and the fun socks and all the nonsense that people wear. What do they call it? the glossy shirts and all this not bedazzled, right? Bespoke. Not bespoke, that's what I was going for. I was going for my Zoomer words here. This is it looks like another day. It's grubby. It's another day at the Capitol, another day of business. Again, they're denying him the solemnity. They're denying him even at least you got some white gloves there. It looks like from the Sergeant at Arms. Yeah. But that's about it. And I don't know. I don't think it looks right at all.
Well, one of the reasons they're doing this is, to Natalie's point earlier, the symbology of this and showing that the country has come together around him. This is a multiracial, multi-ethnic of every class that we have has come together in back of President Trump, and that's what they're trying to do to deny him. They understand the days of thunder about to start in 60 minutes.
Capitol's where you lie in state.
Do what?
Rotunda's where you lie in state, by the way.
Yes. Jimmy Carter was just there. Not with massive crowds either, I might add. Right? So this is right here. Once again, the entourage has gone by. Normally you would have screaming crowds because this is where the parade would go right afterwards. So this would already be, the staging would be up, the stands would be down the street. They'd be 5 or 6 deep right here, welcoming the new president to the Capitol for the ceremony. And yet what we have here, we have the bike police of the Metropolitan Police Bike Brigade is going by, and absolutely empty streets. I mean, it's for miles that you can see this. And so for all the hundreds of thousands, and I mean hundreds of thousands of MAGA that had tickets, you can go still to National Harbor and go to the Polish embassy, working with Jack Posobiec. It's actually Polish TV.
Polish TV. By the way, Tanya Tay just got the text. She's over there with the boys. She's saying, so we got the Polish party over there for the MAGA watch party. Tanya's over there. Huge shout out, Dominic Charczynski, the MEP over there. He came in, as well as Michael Rochon from Republica TV, just stepped up. They had already had a Polish-American summit that was going on for a couple of days, so they had the booking down. They said, look, just open the doors a couple hours early. Come on in.
Let's talk about that. They got the foreign. Yesterday, we put a brunch on for 4 hours. I think we had 500 people come through. We put it on for the Brazilians.
Well, the whole world is here.
The whole world. That's a little unusual, right? This is just. I think this is what President Trump draws this energy. We had a little bit of that in 2016, but heretofore you've had ambassadors come, the ambassadors to the United States, but you haven't had people come from around the world, and particularly from all the sovereigntist movements.
Well, I have a question for Natalie Winters. What are your thoughts on the fact that the vice president of the People's Republic of China, vice president, by the way, which isn't even a real title in China because nobody's elected. Xi Jinping is not the president. He's the chairman. They don't even say, in Chinese, you say Chairman Xi. What are your thoughts on him sending a high-level dignitary like that, meeting with J.D. Vance, and he's going to be attending here today?
I wouldn't meet with them. I think it's wrong. I think the Chinese Communist Party has been receiving better treatment and a better welcome than MAGA, frankly. Honestly, I think...
Does that upset you? You think MAGA gets that?
Of course. But I mean, look, I think that, frankly, what you're seeing going on right now is almost more anti-democratic and I think election denialism than, January 6th and the MSNBC construct
tell me about
of
that.
it was.
What do you mean by that?
Well, think about it. What they're essentially saying to President Trump is, yeah, well, you can win an election, but we're not going to seat you, right? In any meaningful term, we're not going to give you the actual.
And we're not going to give you the pageantry.
And do you know why? Because they want to send the message that who's running this country, it's not fundamentally changing, right? They don't need to have an inauguration because the regime still wants to hold their power. And I think to your point about certain countries, I think the Brazilians, like, we understand collectively the globalist regime that we're pushing back against, right? There's the same entities that have been involved in either the election rigging, right? Like the Carter Center has been involved in the elections here and in Brazil. We get the common enemy, and that common enemy is the one that is now depriving MAGA of an inauguration.
Why is she not right? I think that nails it very succinctly. They're within an hour. We're within an hour of an hour and 4 minutes of taking the oath and President Trump assuming the presidency. Tell me why. Thank you. That's great. Tell me why she's not right. That this is the administrative deep state and the folks who actually run this country saying,
so
hey,
right.
we don't care.
Natalie's always right. No, she's absolutely right. And Kash Patel in his book outlines, I mean, it's a little stunning. The only time they draw down the security is for J6. Nancy Pelosi. She admitted she's on tape. And then Kash has one little detail in his book, which seems minor, and it's not. Nancy Pelosi requested an A1 Abrams tank as a photo op for J6. That's what she wanted, because you got to fight against us Presbyterians. You know, we're a really scary, and these Catholic brothers with the crosses, we're really scary crew, right? You got to have an Abrams A1 tank.
I don't recall ever being scared of a Presbyterian.
Yeah, no, don't even get now.
Yeah. Hold on.
It's gonna be Cade. Come on.
You can tell he's not from Ireland, right? So we have people. We have a split screen right there. The dignitaries are coming into the Capitol right now, to the rotunda, to be seated for the ceremony within an hour. It starts at 11:30. It's a fairly succinct ceremony. You have some prayers. You have some patriotic hymns. You have no, we're not taking breaks. Thank you, producer. We're rolling with this. Thank you for setting this up so I can now see it. Okay, what are we seeing here today, Brad? When we look at this, what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's they're in under the dome, as you said, and then down both sides, right?
Yeah.
What you're staring at, folks at home, is the Senate side, right there. That's where the Senate chambers are. So if you look down one grand corridor, you see the Senate. You have to bow before the senators. Still, that's part of the cult religion up here. The House side is over to the far right, and so you're inside. You're seeing under the dome. And the majesty of the architecture of the dome, and then they're just setting up the agenda of the day.
At least the people at the head of the thing should be in more formal attire. Do you think?
Where's the white tie? Where's the white tie? Look, compare this. Look, and I'm not. Look, we're
not trying to be negative.
We're
here.
not. This isn't the royal family. This isn't the royal family.
What we're trying to set up is what reality is that President Trump is not going to be welcomed.
Yeah, Bezos' wife is right there, by the way. So the spouses of the Congress
Setting
folks
the table,
can't get
folks.
in, but Bezos is
and that's
head of the Washington
That's Bezos
Post.
right there.
His wife got in.
No, that's Bezos.
Yeah. So just
are they married yet? I thought. Nope. I don't know. Oh no, I think the girlfriend.
His side piece.
The side piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, so think about that, folks. Think about that. You don't get an inauguration, Jeff Bezos is in there. Gotta love it.
Right.
Jeff Bezos in there. The CCP is in there. Setting the table, folks. We're setting the table.
It doesn't look like the Imperial Capitol is ready for MAGA. You would say that, and I think in 59 minutes or an hour and 1 minute, when President Trump takes charge, and we start doing the 100 executive orders, maybe as many as 50 have OSC opinions. They're talking about 100 executive actions. Yeah. Oh, this is the top of the hour. We can go ahead and take that down. Go back to the shot, guys. Yeah. Thanks. We'll take that. There we go. Right there. Thank you. We're not going to take commercial breaks.
Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Oh, boo.
I thought I smelled something.
Stay classy.
I thought I smelled something.
Wow. Stay classy. Stay classy. We got the whole.
Oh no, it's just something out here. It's just coffee. It's just some coffee.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
So we're 1 hour away from in
sulfur.
30 minutes, the official ceremony will start. They're starting to seat people now into the rotunda. Dave, tell me about the size of it. Could it fit 1,000 people, or could it not?
I guess if you go down the grand halls a bit toward the House and the Senate, and what you just said, right? We're being gaslit here today.
Yeah.
And so the MAGA, that's what you do all day, every day, and Natalie's yelling at the country and Wake motivating, and Jack's doing his thing. But it really does. We're starting to get some signals on trade and on one big, beautiful bill, and not moving fast enough on immigration, because we're going to have to wait till May or June. And that's why the posse, I don't want to take away from any of the great news that's coming up. We got a ton of, the days of thunder
the direction of this, folks, will tell you, starting at noon is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
President Trump committed yesterday. He said by sundown today, the course of the country will be
Obama alone, trouble in paradise. Paradise. Trouble in paradise. Solo Obama. We got. By the way, Brad, I love what you just said. This is gaslighting. Yeah. That's exactly the right word for how I feel right now. They are gaslighting you. They're gaslighting you into thinking that.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
Because they want you to think this is a real inauguration. They say, okay, fine, it's not outside, but we'll give them like a little rinky-dink ceremony inside. Nobody's going to dress up, but we'll do it. We'll do that. We'll go through the motions. and we'll deny you the optics, we'll deny you the rest of it, and instead they're trying to.
Reagan's second term.
Gaslighting is that they will allow him to be president.
Tim Cook coming in. Apple. Tim Cook.
Tim Apple coming.
The oligarchs arrived.
By the way, I was going to say they're definitely surrendering until I saw Bezos' girlfriend show up, right? I know that's unrelated to the $40 million documentary, but let's continue on. Right? The majesty of this is important because of where President Trump, the hero's journey in this process. Remember, 4 years ago, Dan, that's why we started the show by going back to January 20th, of 2021. When President Trump went to Andrews Air Force, he did not come to the inauguration. When he went to Andrews Air Force Base, none of the political class was there to see him off. We had Boris Epstein reporting live from us.
Bit of a reprieve. There's MTG.
All right.
MTG. Okay, good. We got some MAGA. That's fantastic. So we got MTG. I don't think all the members
Rubio, Bessent.
Well, that's the cabinet right there. Scott Bessent, Ernst Scott Bessent.
I think that's Tulsi.
Lauren Sanchez again.
Yep. Maybe she's in the cabinet now. You never know.
The Washington Post is everywhere, Steve.
Okay, we need a power source for this.
Washington Post is everywhere.
We need a power source for our monitor. Thanks.
Going into like page 6 of War Room.
Yes. Okay, let's try to grab that.
Trump family now.
The other part of gaslighting, by the way, is what comes after gaslighting. If they're really smart and really strategic, is they throw you a love bomb.
Yes.
They'll tell you, hey, here's what we're going to do for you after you get elected. Right. We're going to be told the degrees of freedom we get to operate within, right?
Natalie, is that how you do it, the love bomb?
Natalie, she leads a monkish existence. All she does is work.
I do.
I guess she does. I get that complaint.
Gaslight him, then I love bomb.
I get attempted honeypots from the Chinese Communist Party.
But Brad, I shouldn't have cut you off because what you're saying is important. Walk through how they're going to love bomb Trump.
Yeah, they're going to say, hey, we're going to give you one big, beautiful bill, and, we're aiming for May or June. And then if you'll notice, those bills, just like the spending bills, that immigration's attached to. So they're not giving us a separate bill on the MAGA stuff, right? That's not going to happen in the first month or two, so you get momentum, and President Trump goes, boom, we're in control. We got wins at our backs. Instead, all of it's going to be shoved into one bill everybody's got to vote for, because the speaker and leadership's going to say, well, I only got a majority of 2 or 3 renegades.
But Murdoch, hang on. The Wall Street Journal and Murdoch already gaslit us. They had a poll that came out Friday that said people want MAGA light. Yeah, they like some of the headlines of President Trump.
Oh, here it comes. MAGA light. MAGA light. There it is.
That's the love bomb.
There it is. No, we want MAGA. We want MAGA. Just MAGA light. Just MAGA light. Not the full stuff.
Also, that gets down to the thing about deporting just criminal aliens.
Yes.
To me, all 15 million are criminals because they broke the law to get here. Right. And they have to go. This is where the fight's going to be. It's going to start at noon. The Days of Thunder start in less than an hour.
And by the way, this is all Jordan Peterson lingo in a way, right? This language is associated with psychopaths, right? This is the language you expect by people who are total control freaks, narcissists. Right.
Explain that to the audience.
And who's your man? Who's our man in Rome? I'm blanking on this. Harnwell.
Ben Harnwell.
This sociopathic overlords, right? Yes. He hit it.
Yes.
That's what's coming.
Yes.
Right. And so we're told what we're allowed to do. They want us to be the
Supreme Court's entering. They're entering right now. You see on the split screen right there. Supreme Court entering. There we go.
By the way, you always see that.
Can somebody give Amy Coney Barrett, just hand her a job offer somewhere so we get an exit seat? I don't mean to be cruel on today,
President Notre Dame, President Emeritus Notre Dame.
Do it.
Is she Presbyterian?
Who does she hang out with, though? Who does she hang out with?
I hope she's a good Catholic.
Who does she hang out with? No, she's an ecumenical. What is it? Ecumenical Catholic. Yeah.
So we got
charismatic, right? Charismatic Catholic.
These are all the dignitaries.
Never trust a charismatic Catholic.
The ceremony is supposed to commence at 11:30, and it'll be a fairly straightforward ceremony. There'll be some singing, some patriotic hymns. There'll be, I think, a religious hymn, and then we'll get into it. The oath is always administered as close to noon, I think, as possible, and then the president will then turn and give an address. I think the address will be I think they're playing on 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
President Trump's been known to go off script.
Yeah.
You never know. Without this massive 1 million people here to greet him of his followers in uniting the country, maybe he'll keep it. Maybe he'll keep it just to stay on script.
Well, Brad, I was going to throw out another tactic that we talk about this in Unhumans, by the way. This is something you see the regime do all the time. You see the media do it all the time. Yeah. The other narcissistic tactic is DARVO, D-A-R-V-O. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. What does it mean? So you deny what's going on, you attack the person, and then you reverse the victimality. So you say, you're attacking me as you attack them. And then they say, how dare Trump lash out like this? Right. How dare he do this? When they never talk about the fact that they're the ones who did this thing to our country.
Yeah, Russiagate. Right from day one, the Washington Post nuked him before he was sworn in, the day of. Right? Washington Post nuked him, Russiagate.
The FISA was already in place.
Right, and then they say we're the... I hate using the word, but the fascists and the demagogues and whatever. I know. It's unbelievable.
Is John Solomon, is that audio working? Can we try that again? Can we go to John Solomon? Harry, Cameron, can we go to John Solomon in studio? Okay, John, talk to us about what you hear in the pardons. Before we get into the ceremony in a few minutes, I'd like to talk about these preemptive pardons, how they came about, and other issues related to personnel.
Yeah. So listen, we expected James Biden and some other family members potentially to be pardoned. That hasn't happened. At least we've still a half hour left. So let's keep our eyes out for that. But the January 6th committee, Liz Cheney, Benny Thompson, those who cast upon the American public a very false narrative during those televised 2022 hearings, they all got preemptive pardons, as did some of the Capitol Police officers who were testifying and trying to help the Democrats create that fake narrative. They all got pardons today. And then there was a surprise. A lot of people didn't expect General Milley to get a pardon. But when you look back at the moment of summer 2020 through summer 2021, General Milley is one of the most critical players in so much of what happened in America. He's the guy in charge at the helm when Afghanistan goes sideways in America. He's the guy that makes the 2 secret phone calls to China that his own boss, President Trump, didn't know about, saying, hey, Trump's not going to attack you, stand down, be fine. He's the guy that is involved in all the discussions about having the National Guard up in Washington before January 6th. Obviously, Nancy Pelosi didn't take him up on that offer. But through and through again, Milley plays this sort of resistance role, and he's sort of the Democrats' quote-unquote mole in the Trump administration. And he gets a pardon. A lot of people I talked to today were floored that happened. That was an unexpected thing. Maybe he asked for it. We're trying to find out a little bit more detail on that. Now, I want to pivot to where the next front of the resistance is going to be. The most read book or the most read chapter in Washington, D.C. right now is Chapter 31 of the Office of Personnel Management Guide, because that's the chapter that deals with separation other than retirement. All these bureaucrats and their union bosses are reading that day in and day out, all their lawyers, all of their Soros-backed groups. This is where the fight's going to be. As Donald Trump starts to reassign, fire, remove the resistance, those federal workers, those federal managers who won't carry out his agenda, the American people's agenda, they're going to rely on this chapter and go to court. Chapter 31 of the Office of Personnel Management, the most boring reading you'll ever have, but most bureaucrats are reading it because they're looking for any loophole to try to keep themselves in power. I think Donald Trump will prevail, but it's funny, when you talk to bureaucrats, I've been talking to a lot of them, they're all reading that document today.
So, John, getting back to that pardon question real quick, I just want to be very clear about something. Can Joe Biden pardon someone for state-level crimes? Can he preemptively pardon someone from state action? Oh, that's right, he can't. So Dr. Fauci is not pardoned from state action.
Ken Paxton,
the state of Texas.
State of Texas.
Ken Paxton is in the building right now, by the way.
To pick a random.
Here's another key point.
Just
remember,
saying, folks, just
OJ.
Saying.
Yeah,
throwing stuff
Here's
out
the key
there.
point. O.J. Simpson escaped criminal liability when he was acquitted by the jury, but the civil case became the single most damaging thing to him. None of these pardons will prevent any of these players from being sued civilly. Suppose the U.S. government want to sue the January 6th committee for fraud upon the American people. That is still an option for Donald Trump and his administration. So federal civil liability, state prosecution still on the table. And I know of some people inside the Trump world that are looking at some of those fraud statutes, whether that can be applied to January 6th or to some of the other false narratives that were imposed on the American people during the Biden administration.
Natalie Winters, you have, and we're getting a special request from the audience to let Natalie talk more. We are. She's freezing.
I'm so cold.
We're going to let Natalie take a break here. Right after the speech, Natalie's going to take a break. Talk to me about Fauci particularly.
I'm having so many war room parties. I'm not used to going out, but then I have to go. Yes.
Talk about Fauci. You've done more than anyone on the individual investigation into Tony Fauci. Sure. When you woke up this morning and were coming over here and you saw that Fauci had been pardoned, what were your first thoughts?
Honestly, I was shocked. I truly didn't think that they were going to give the pardons because, like you said, it destroys the Democratic Party or they were all going to jail. But two, I think what you guys were just talking about, the gaslighting and the DARVO, I think you have to start this whole sort of pardon discourse from day one. And the way that they always framed it was like, Benny Thompson and Anthony Fauci would accept pardons if they were given to them, right? So passive. But in reality, you know these people were lobbying so hard. And you know why they were lobbying for the pardon so hard? Because they know that they're guilty. And obviously in the case of Anthony Fauci, I think our show was really the tip of the spear, the tip of the spear, right, in exposing all the ways that he not just lied, knowingly lied, but intentionally funded risky gain-of-function research over at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. But I think it affirms this show. I know I said this. I know Real Clear Politics wrote it up. But our conspiracy theories, our misinformation, our lies, you know, they were so good that they necessitated not just pardons, not just preemptive pardons, but blanket preemptive pardons.
It was called misinformation. All of us were banned on every platform, right? And it turned out that it was such misinformation that the perpetrators all spent the last 4 weeks at the White House with their representatives and lawyers groveling to get pardons.
Well, look, I think it's what we were talking about, the whole love bombing narcissistic, trope, but it's victim blaming of shows like ours, of the American people who have been the victims of people like Anthony Fauci. And then when you say that you want accountability, that you want retribution, or that, you don't want H-1Bs coming and flooding your country, that you're then a nativist xenophobe, the framing of it is always blaming MAGA, right? And I think that you see the ultimate blame, the ultimate sort of victim blaming going on when you see what's allowed inside. But these pardons prove that we were right. They do. And I don't think that you can argue with that. And I think you have to remember, too, right, when you're talking about how they're coming for us with the gaslighting, I think that's almost an understatement, because gaslighting to me is more an emotional manipulation, right? This is a whole of society manipulation, a whole of government manipulation, right? It's tenfold. It compounds time and time.
Told you, Natalie.
I agree with Natalie.
I'm a very good gaslighter.
When I
very good, quite expert, not level of knowledge there, Natalie.
I'm with Natalie. When I saw the pardons come up on the Associated Press, I was actually shocked. I said they couldn't possibly have walked into that trap. Your guys, when you first heard it.
No, what they've done is, number one, they've solidified the legacy of all of these people. When you're talking optics or we're talking solemnity, they've denied it now. Now Anthony Fauci, who, by the way, will never answer for what he did on AIDS, who will never answer for what which has really been coming back around again. Gibson was talking about it with Rogan and all that. He'll never answer for what he did on COVID, will never answer for what he allowed to happen to our children. The fact that pardon on him, and it is an indictment in a sense. In the public mind, it's an indictment on his legacy, and not just that, but the legacy of the expert class of control at the NIH and the FDA. Now, the reversion of that will only occur, by the way, if the MAGA movement is allowed to achieve their policy objectives. And I'll tell you the next thing, that's why Mike Pence came out against RFK, because this town is gearing up to fight off the MAGA movement the same way they fought off the Tea Party.
I do think it is also interesting, because what was the refrain, the strapline that you always heard from MSNBC, and they were even hitting it with this morning, the idea that, Anthony Fauci was never political, right? Anything they were doing, it was never politicized. I'm like, really? Well, then why do you need a pardon for something that was explicitly and purely political, right?
By the way, we got coffee. Hot chocolate.
I don't drink coffee. I don't drink either. Just water.
Natalie, go over Fauci's. What did he do in the affirmative?
The guys will start sending pounds of hot chocolate to Natalie now.
Natalie's hot chocolate. That's the new thing.
Natalie's cold.
Talk to Tage. You have to talk to Tage about that.
Put back in our head. What did Fauci do? What are his most egregious sins? Because I think half the country's blocked it out to stay mentally sane.
On the sartorial note, real quick, I humbly suggested that we rename Canada Goose to America Goose.
Yes. Okay.
Let's go.
Right?
Let's go.
But no, to
You know what the treaty we have with Canada over the geese? You know, we have a treaty with them over the treatment of the geese. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because American hunters are going to be shooting
because of the hunters and when they come down, all of
it.
it. It's completely insane.
Well, I'll answer your question more broadly because I do think that the signal, not noise, is right who they decided to pardon. People like Michael Cohen were groveling on MSNBC for their pardons. That was probably the most embarrassing clip I've ever seen. Even Simone Sanders is telling him, like, dude, get it together. So I think it's very interesting who they decided to pardon and who they didn't. And I think that there is sort of a common through line. First, I think buried lead is that it wasn't just the January 6th committee members, but it was the staff too. That compounded with Anthony Fauci, who I think
By the way, just understand that the January 6th staff,
right?
Staff, not that they lied or gun decked information or buried information, getting people off. That's a shocker.
That also means, by the way, that they didn't have time to clean it up.
Right.
So that means that when we get in there, when we flip over, we need to start pulling records immediately.
Between Milley, the January 6th committee, and Fauci, I think that's sort of the three-part assault that led to the steal of the 2020 election, right? It started with the pandemic and Anthony Fauci. And then you got January 6th and the committee that lied. That was sort of the propaganda element of it. And then, of course, Milley with what he did, refusing to deploy the National Guard. So I think that is the common through line, right? It's not three isolated cases.
Do you think Milley's was more than the National Guard, or you think it was the treason, calling back for a military tribunal on the treason part of communicating with the Chinese Communist Party and the PLA senior members directly and not keeping the president, the commander-in-chief, in the loop on that?
Well, I think it's all of it. But I just think that it all sort of goes to the idea of just the undermining, the subversion of President Trump. But together, I think it culminates with the stolen election.
Sorry you didn't make the cut, Chris Ray. Sorry you didn't make the cut, Francis Collins.
Well, hold it. We still have 45 minutes. What I'm surprised about is Ray, Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, Jack Smith. There's a lot of Graves. There's a lot of brothers hanging out there. Julie Kelly's going to join us after the ceremony. We're going to go through that in detail. Yeah. But I think that shocked me. I thought it'd be more to that.
Three people that didn't make the cut here because they wanted all of that. They wanted all of those people. They wanted Kinzinger. Well, I guess he got in from the committee work. But that doesn't pardon you for everything, buddy. That doesn't pardon you from the Ukraine stuff. That doesn't pardon you from the Syria stuff, Adam Kinzinger. Oh yeah, we're going to go through all of it. Wait.
I was surprised, though, to see no pardons for people involved with the lawfare and all the Trump indictments. So
that's the vast criminal.
The night's still young.
But it's still doing the pandemic and doing the other things they've done. Doesn't that reinforce the fact that we got to go back to the beginning? You got to go back to the Comey situation, Crossfire Hurricane, and you have to, on a linear basis, do it all.
Yeah,
right? It has to be an investigation.
Well, I would raise you this too. I think all the $1 million sums that have been donated by, I guess, all the people who are inside the rotunda right now.
Yes,
that's sort of the corporate equivalent of pardons, right? They're trying to buy their way in. I would humbly suggest that those are the people you investigate first. And you use the money that they donated to bankroll the investigation.
Zuckerberg would be the top of the list.
Because they're all in on it. And by the way, it's all a limited hangout too, right? Yep. The issue is not the fact checking. It's not even just that the issue's just the fact checking or the algorithms or the blacklisting. It's that you stole the election and lied about it to the tune of $1 billion. So this is probably one of the most limited hangouts that I've ever seen.
Yeah, go back to Fauci though, Natalie. Half the country that watches CNN think he's a charming, grandfatherly figure, and China was maybe the bad guy, but Fauci's this nice.
However, they haven't had Fauci on for almost 2 years,
what
right?
Did he do, though? What did he do? What did he do? What would be the number one most serious indictment?
Well, I think you would very easily get him on perjury with every time he testified with Senator Rand Paul, how they kept moving the goalposts.
Right.
But I'm sure there's biological warfare conventions,
That's
biological war crimes when it comes to funding.
The gain of function and knowing the gain of function.
Knowingly
and how they
sending
go.
funds over to the Chinese Communist Party's military.
Selena Zito just posted up. You know what the photo she's posted up? You know the stage over at Capital One right now?
Yes.
So on the stage at Capital One Arena right now is not a podium. You know what's there? A desk. A desk
That's where he's gonna go
and
sign.
a chair
Yes.
are set up right at Capital One Arena. Selena Zito just posted it. It's the great Selena Zito.
Let's get this.
The amount of people in the energy sector who have sent me this photo in the past 4 minutes doesn't surprise me. The energy community in Pennsylvania is in a state of relief. They expect to see big things today from President Trump when he signs an executive order. Yeah, he's got. I can't tell if there's any pens on it, but yes, it's the desk.
So President Trump will not be going. He'll maybe go to the White
go.
House first, but then go back to the Capital One Center, do it live. Dave Bratt on Full Spectrum Energy Dominance, and guys, maybe we get Dave Walsh for later in the show. But Full Spectrum Energy Dominance, how big a deal is that going to be?
Well, everybody asks you what's going to happen on day one. What can President Trump do, for the economy? And a lot of that's heavy lifts. It's going to take a long time, but Full Spectrum Energy Dominance is the announcement effect of the deregulation, setting fossil fuels free. What's the new show out? The Oilman. What's it called? It's not Oilman. It's the
it's Landman, but it's Taylor Sheridan, and so I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I don't trust
oils
him.
in everything, but that's the bottom line, right?
No, it's starting good. It's starting good, but so did Yellowstone.
No, I know. But anyway, that in a nutshell. That show shows you oil. It's in the tires. It's in the transportation. It's in the plastics. It's in the makeup. The guy went over the list on the show, right? And so the announcement of what he's going to do there, and then getting rid of the subsidies. And I think Elon even said, "Go ahead, get rid of them." We'll see how that comes true. But that and then the green piece, the green energy piece, I don't even think is substantive. I think it's more code words. That stand for what team are you on. It's like DEI. And if you're not on the right team, you're going to get punished by the administrative state. And so it all fits together, and we're breaking it all up and getting back to meritocracy in energy and across the board.
I can't see the monitor. We're inside the Capitol now. Mike Pence, the Judas Pence has arrived.
By the way, Tanya's over here at the Gaylord. She just sent me an image. All the people at the watch party at Gaylord, when they saw Pence, boo! We'll have to get that video up in a sec here. But yeah, Tanya's over there with the boys. I said, don't worry about braving the cold, sweetheart. Just go over to the Gaylord. They're there with Gavin. By the way, Gavin Wax, Chelsea, and the baby are there over at the Gaylord as well. So we've got a lot. By the way, congratulations to Benny Johnson, who I hear just had number 4, born on January 20th, 2025. Wow. So the first
Benny,
new Patriot. So congrats to Benny, to Nurse Kate, to the whole family.
I want to add one more thing on that Full Spectrum Energy Dominance piece. Today in the paper, trade, right?
Yes.
You're going to have the slow walking crowd start slow walking.
Oh, this pressure. People should know this pressure on trade already. On the tariffs,
whatever. Yes. These secretaries need to do analyses across the secretaries, because that Full Spectrum Energy piece will fully offset, I think, on the math. We'll get Dave Walsh to confirm that any tariff piece that he puts in there. Right, so the uplift to the economy, and then the tariff is just setting a level playing field for fair competition against the Chinese and whoever doesn't want to cooperate. And I can't wait to see what Trump's got coming in terms of negotiations with these countries, including Mexico. People don't know that, but we have 1.5 million illegal immigrants that have already been cleared to deport. We can't do that until the home countries agree. And so President Trump is the one person who can make that happen. What are we all staring at, team?
No, it just feels good. That sun feels good, man.
We're gonna when the ceremony starts, or when the president comes in with Biden, and you have the illegitimate regime turfed out. And we're going to let Natalie go warm up, and so because she's going to be back and doing some of the afternoon show.
I'll take the female privilege. Thank you.
Why don't you go bounce right now? We're going to start the thing in a second. Natalie Natalie doesn't have enough. It doesn't have the kind of beef that we have to keep. Yeah. Go.
Yes,
okay,
it is.
We're going to send Natalie over to warm up. You want to take your hot chocolate? Okay, fine. Okay, I got it. All right. It's like when we used to take Mo skating when she was 8. You want to take your hot chocolate? Got your mittens? Natalie, thank you very much. It is cold up here. It's in the 20s, right? When the sun's out, it's actually obviously much nicer. It's a little cloudy. It's been beautiful all day, a little cloudy. About a half hour ago.
And we're up here. But we're 10 stories up, by the way. And that when the wind hits up here,
we could have had
there's no wind down there.
You could have had 1 million people here easily with President Trump.
Yeah.
And just
the sun hitting it right now.
Yes.
No, it'd be fine.
Look at this. President Trump has been walking out right now to this beautiful, magnificent.
By the way, we know how to get hand warmers. We know how to get. MAGA knows how to do this. Go talk to the Battle Creek MAGA up in Michigan. By the way, going out waiting out 9-degree temperatures, waiting out with nothing. They'll sit there. Gruber's here. He knows. Yeah, he'll tell you about Michigan, right? I'm just Pennsylvania, but we do it enough. Look, these guys. They would have been able to do this, and they would have done it gladly. Yes. They would have done it gladly because this is something that we've all been fighting hard for, not just for the past 4 years, which felt like 400 years, by the way, but all the way back to the very first day, almost 10 years ago now, when President Trump came down that escalator. Because look, we growing from and look, I know we're a little down in the dumps in terms of the inauguration here, but this is
we're excited about the Days of Thunder, but we want to the reason on the inauguration is that this is a predicate for what they're going to do to fight him on everything. President Trump has promised by sundown today, which will be at the beginning of the 5 o'clock show, that the course of the nation is going to be changed. Look, what we're trying to warn people about is that every step of the way they're going to fight him. And you can see it right now in this ceremony.
That. We want the golden age too, from the golden escalator to the golden age. We want that. But I want to be very clear. That's not going to change just because he puts his hand on the Bible. That's not going to change just because he signs executive orders. That's not going to change just because, not even in the first 100 days, all right? It's going to be a fight every step of the way. So I see people running around town, and I saw people at the parties and everything. So, oh, we won, we saved the country, we won, it's all done. It's not done. It's not done. Go look. These people are still here. They're still waiting, and they think every single night. They go to sleep every night, and they dream about it, and they wake up in the morning thinking about how they can screw the American people, how they can screw President Trump, how they can deny him victory, and they think they can wait him out. And the best part, and the next part, Steve, which of course Steve Bannon has been, the Financial Times of London's got the piece up, which we need to talk about here, that Steve Bannon is also fighting the infiltration of MAGA Light. Remember MAGA Light?
MAGA Light.
MAGA Light
from the tech bros.
Low calorie
do
version.
We have
keto
I
MAGA?
can't see the monitor right now because of the glare of the sun. Is President coming in yet?
Well, the screen in front of us is frozen.
Yeah.
If they can restart this one, we can get that better.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I've told the story on the show. We tried to save $40 billion. A teaspoon of money up here. We're paying to dead people.
No, but $40 billion, $40 billion.
It's $40 billion.
Right.
But what we're the real insurrection that we're going to see unfold
tell that story quickly about what you went to. Guys said we found $40 billion.
Paul Ryan,
wow, it's $40 billion a year.
Yeah, $40 billion a year. We're paying to dead people, Social Security, whatever it was. We wanted to put it back to the American people, give it to the deficit relief or whatever. Paul Ryan said, "I got to go check." I'm like, "Who are you checking with?" He's the Speaker of the House. Right? He's the Speaker who dictates everything that happens in that dome, by the way. The Speaker, you think the guys in the House and the Senate dictate anything? Nothing. Just so you know. Right? So he goes and checks. No, can't do it. And what that means is that you're talking about the flow of funds, incoming and outgoing. The funds are in, right? And so I call
this. If they got it, they're going to spend it.
If they got it, it's going to a donor. It's going to and so that's $40 billion example. And what the folks at home, what I want them to appreciate is the real insurrection is the insurrection of the trillionaire oligarch class. That's the insurrection that's been ongoing. You're going to see trillions of dollars at stake in the budget. There's supposedly $3 trillion worth of rare earth minerals in Ukraine that Lindsey Graham comes on and says, well, it's a good thing their boys are dying and not ours over those several trillion. There's several trillion at stake in the full spectrum energy dominance. That whole sector is going to shift 180 degrees overnight. And so you're going to see all the forces in the world and all the money in the world, and I mean literally in the world. China is embedded in every Fortune 500 firm in the country.
Big.
All of those forces are going to come to play and say, nope, we want the status quo. We want the globalist regime to stay in power.
It's
and
11.
That's the fight.
It's 11:30, guys. Where are we got on the screen? What's happening in the Capitol? We can't. Okay. Is the president walked in yet? Because I can't. Right here. Okay.
The first family's there. It looks like
First family.
I see Barron.
Yeah.
His grandfather.
The 30. Yeah. So let's go ahead and go to that. Let's go ahead. We're going to pick up the ceremony live. We're going to be here and jump in at the top of it. Let's go ahead and go. Let's cut to the ceremony.
Calling me to bed.